the following presentation, we will have a look at Product 1 main features, including a brief context, a description of the product, a reference to the main potential end users of the handbook, an explanation of its key added value services, and finally an overview of the synergies between this and other MEISTER products. In the MEISTER project, partners work on 6 electromobility business models that are set to be introduced in 3 cities: Berlin, Malaga and Stockholm. The 6 business models will be tested in the pilot cities, enabling the elaboration of a total of 10 business cases. In this manner, each business case will be the result of the implementation of one business model to one specific strategic and geographic context. The MEISTER project responds to an increase in interest in the launching of profitable and sustainable innovative e-mobility business models in the public and private sectors. However, at the commercial level, there is a lack of a clear framework and guidance to facilitate the development of these business models. Although private and public stakeholders are increasingly willing to implement the latter, MEISTER partners noticed in the beginning of the project that a complete guidance tool was needed to provide public and private decision makers with useful recommendations, results and methodologies. That is why, among the 5 products resulting from MEISTER, the first of these is a MEISTER Replication, Market Uptake and Deployment Handbook. The MEISTER Replication, Market Uptake and Deployment Handbook incorporates the key outcomes of the project which any city willing to boost the large-scale deployment of electromobility should use. Lessons learned, methodologies applied and results gathered during the project structuring, piloting and evaluation phases are included within Product 1. The objective of the handbook is to facilitate the replication and scaling up of the MEISTER results and to maximize the impacts and transferability. The handbook is also planned to facilitate the acceptance and utilization of the project outcomes by the electromobility market and by the public administrations. Although this product is labeled as a handbook, it could also be considered as a toolset that relies on and also gives access to a number of project results. It includes information on the details of the business models defined in the project, specifications on how to use the technological solutions supporting their implementation, such as for Product 2, 3, 4 and 5. Information on the practical results coming from the business models validation at the pilot sites, and finally on the supporting legal, administrative and financial tools needed to help upscale and deploy all the above. The access to this product will be available through an organized documentary repository and a series of videos that will serve as guides for the use of the former. But what about the potential end users? Well, the handbook will help cities and a whole range of e-mobility stakeholders in the large-scale deployment of electromobility and also in sizing related business opportunities. For cities and governments, the handbook could be very useful as it will offer full guidance with regard to, firstly, best practices for launching e-mobility models, for their replication and for scaling up results. Secondly, with regard to exploitation of synergies between European financial investment instruments and funds. And thirdly, with regard to tools and models for facilitating market adoption of new products. For other stakeholders as mobility as a service providers, infrastructure providers, electric vehicle supply equipment operators, DSOs, or housing cooperatives among others, the handbook will offer valuable information regarding, firstly, the identification of clusters and partnerships between research, education and business sectors. Secondly, regarding guidelines for Europe-wide e-mobility take-up and rollout of results. Thirdly, regarding EU regulatory and standard frameworks. And finally, regarding other technical, legal or financial issues for the deployment of e-mobility related services. Moving on directly to its content, the MEISTER Replication, Market Uptake and Deployment Handbook will consist in a set of guidelines for e-mobility stakeholders that includes, among others, the following sections. A technical part consisting firstly in the publication of the 5-case methodology guide for assessing innovative e-mobility business models. The handbook will describe the methodology developed within the MEISTER project for the concept definition, implementation, monitoring of public and private e-mobility projects, as well as for investment evaluation. The methodology will provide a step-by-step approach, helping public and private bodies to ensure that all of the key aspects of an investment plan, such as the strategic part, the value for money, the commercial viability, the financial modeling, and the management issues, is explicitly and systematically addressed as part of the business case development process. Consequently, all related materials necessary for the use of the methodology will be made available. The technical part will also cover the results of the implementation of the methodology to the 10 business cases defined and piloted within MEISTER. These 10 business cases, which are developed gradually and incrementally in 3 stages, the last of them being the full business case stage, will not only address the 3 cities, but also the whole range of technological solutions developed and also their implementation. On the basis of all of this, a trans-European transferability assessment will also be provided. The assessment will be twofold, focusing both on intracity and intercity opportunities. The transferability of the business models and supporting tools will be enabled by a detailed definition of use cases and user requirements for MEISTER products and services, also addressing the needs from other e-mobility ecosystems across Europe. Finally, the handbook will include a general recommendations section covering a variety of learnings and recommendations and methods on the EU and national levels for a more harmonized EU market take-up. A second part of the handbook will be the legal section dedicated to the legal implementation of the innovative solutions. The handbook will incorporate a legal framework model to facilitate the implementation of new mobility business models by EU local authorities. Consequently, the handbook will have a dedicated chapter including a set of contract templates for the procurement of MEISTER results both by private, public or public-private partnerships. These templates will be, for example, a request for information and a request for proposals models. The last issue included in the legal section of the handbook will be an analysis and compilation of the EU regulatory and standard framework. The financial structuring of the business models and the existing opportunities and alternatives in the use of EU funds for the former will constitute the third core part of the handbook. This chapter will describe the possible European structural and investment funds support available in order to bring the MEISTER results closer to commercialization and market uptake, and also in relation to the smart specialization strategies of the different regions involved. In particular, the section will focus on ad hoc incubation and financial engineering instruments such as loans, guarantees, or venture capital. So far, one of the clearest examples of EU financial support to one of the MEISTER business cases is the City e-Logistics for Ultra-Low Emissions Hubs business case in Malaga, which has already received over 2 million euros through ERDF funding. Ultimately, from the commercial perspective, the handbook will describe pre-commercial procurement and public procurement of innovative solutions models aimed at facilitating the market adoption of new products. Other issues considered will refer to the development of public procurers' undertakings for joint innovative procurement, and, in short, all the technical, legal and financial information needed to design the procurement of these new products and systems will be covered in this section. In the end, the MEISTER Replication, Market Uptake and Deployment Handbook will create synergies with other MEISTER outcomes and specifically with Product 4, the European E-Mobility Expertise Center. Just like the handbook, the EMEC supports the transferability of best practices from the 3 cities participating in the project to other European local governments. Consequently, the handbook will feed into this new association created by the MEISTER partners and will contribute as a complete tool to the technical, legal and financial supporting activities developed by the Center. Thank you for your attention. We hope you found this presentation useful. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact MEISTER partners and me for more information.